Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority.
7:37 on the Morning Majority. A little bit of breaking news. Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell will endorse Romney today, post Rick Perry dropping out, and he will go down to South Carolina to join Mitt at rallies today.
Interesting. That's interesting.
We are very lucky right this minute to get to talk to Senator Jim DeMint of the great state of South Carolina. How's it going, Senator?
Hey, good morning, Mary Catherine, and the two Bryans. Well, it's like a reality show if you're watching the debates here. The candidates were tough last night, and it was real interesting to watch. It looks like it's a two-man race here between Newt and Romney, but anything can change in the last day here. I think, Santorum looked strong last night, and so it's going to be close, I think, and a lot of South Carolinians are interested in the outcome.
But what do you think about how South Carolinians will react to the Newt Gingrich, Marianne Gingrich story? Do they dislike the media more, or does this turn them off on Newt Gingrich?
Well, Newt did a good job turning it back on the media last night, and the best defense is often a good offense, and he went on the offense last night, and that probably helped him. So I think people are going to think through it today and sort it out. Folks here are pretty forgiving to anyone who wants to make a fresh start. At the same time, I think they want a president with strong character, and so I'm not sure where people are going to come down on it. But again, it looks pretty close right now.
It does look pretty close, and if you look at who's got the momentum right now, you clearly have to say, looking at the last round of polls, which do not really figure in this Marianne Gingrich and his response, that Newt had the momentum. And if you average all the polls out, Romney leads by about a point, but Newt's on the surge. Is that the way it's going to play out?
Well, it depends on whether or not folks start moving away from Rick Santorum and Ron Paul and putting their votes one way or another. It's both of these candidates have a lot to offer. It really depends on whether South Carolinians want the idea guy or the guy who appears to be more steady and I guess more proven in executive capacity. But it's hard to tell. My supporters have gone in all different directions. A lot of them are with Romney. Some were with Perry. So I'm not sure where they'll all end up. I'll be very interested in seeing how it turns out myself.
I know you're staying out of it, right? You're not going to make an endorsement?
No, I'm not. I'm going to keep my focus on the Senate Conservatives Fund and try to get a majority in the Senate so I can help deliver a good Congress to the next president.
I know South Carolina, it's very important in this process being the third state, and they usually wind up picking the winner. But you look at what happened in Iowa where Romney was declared the winner, and now they're saying, well, maybe it was Santorum, and they still have 8 precincts that are, out there without any real data to get into. Do you think this whole process needs to change the way we elect the nominee?
Well, the thing after watching all these debates that I would insist on with the Republican National Committee is that Republicans run their own debates, invite the media to cover it if they want, but it's really silly for us to allow media, most of whom would like to make us look bad, run and moderate these debates. So we've seen some good forums. Huckabee did one. We sponsored one in Columbia where the candidates got a chance to express more of their vision and their strategy, their policy. And you saw a lot more from candidates than when someone's asking questions designed to make you look bad. So that's what I would certainly do the next time. I don't think it hurts to have too many debates. It does become a little bit like reality TV after a while because you feel like you know them and you start rooting for all of them. But and that gives more people a chance to participate. But I would just run our own debates and maybe be a little bit more selective about when and where we have them. But it's been a good process, and the candidates are going to be thoroughly vetted before this is all over, so there shouldn't be anything new that comes up in the general election.
Well, now, we've talked in Iowa and New Hampshire about who's got a good ground game, how the ground game works in those states. It's a little different in South Carolina. Obviously, it's a Saturday, which makes a difference. What does somebody need to do on the ground on that day, and who has the tools to do it?
Well, it helps to show up. The Republican Party is a dominant party here. It's pretty well organized, and you don't drive these folks to the polls. I mean, they go on their own. So the organization is a little different. What candidates need to do is they need to show up in places. They need to understand the issues of the state, and it's really economics and jobs right now. But they need to understand the military aspect, the international aspect of BMW and Michelin. And it's good for our state that the ultimate president knows a little bit about our economy. But you need enough money to be on TV to get across your message, because what we've seen, the outside groups are in here giving the opposing opinion. If you don't have enough money to be on TV to give your point of view, you're in trouble.
Senator, I don't know if you know, I'm in South Carolina right now. I'm in Columbia, and honestly, over the past few days, it's hard to swing a cat without hitting one of the Republican candidates in the state. And you cannot turn on the radio, and you cannot watch TV without seeing, ad after ad after ad after ad. So, I mean, there's really no doubt that the message is getting through. I think the real question is this the place, is this the time where the non-Romneys knock Mitt Romney off stride? Do you think that is the likely outcome given what we've seen in the polls of late?
No, I don't think so. I think from the folks that I associate with here, the anti-Romney is pretty much a myth. I mean, some folks
really?
don't would prefer someone else, but for the most part, if you look at his favorables, people like him generally. Sometimes they support someone else, but he doesn't have that large number of folks who look at him unfavorably. So if he's not a first choice, he can be a second or third. That's a good position to be in our state when you've got a lot of undecided voters.
Hey, you have a new book out called Now or Never: Is 2012 America's Last Chance? I'm always looking for optimism. Do you think we're going to take advantage of that last chance? Where are you on the optimism meter?
Well, I'm optimistic because even though folks say the Tea Party fervor has faded, what I see as I go around the country is they've put down their signs and citizens are organizing and they're getting more informed. And Now or Never just sounds the alarm and tries to create the sense of urgency for people who are not generally interested in politics, to remind them that we've got about half the country who is dependent on the government and wants more from government, and the other half's paying for it. The dependent group is pretty well organized under the Democrat Party. The Republicans have got to organize the rest of the country, those working, tax-paying Americans. I think it's our last chance, because in a few years you're going to have so many voters dependent on the government. Yeah. We're going to be worse off than Greece as far as our political will to actually stop spending and balance our budget. It's just the time for us, if we believe in the principles of American exceptionalism, is to take our case to the American people.
Very quickly. I'm sorry, Senator. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I didn't want to step on you. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to ask you one last question. In South Carolina, I've been given a task. I cannot come back without boiled peanuts. And I'm not having any luck at all finding them. Is it out of season down here right now?
Yeah, you normally see it a lot more in the summer. You got a lot of roadside stands of people with boiled peanuts, and you can find them in some places packaged. A lot of times around the lakes where folks go fishing, they like to take some boiled peanuts. But that's a delicacy here in the summer.
Well, he's been ordered not to come back without them. So
my search continues today.
Senator DeMint, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Thanks very much, sir.
Thank you all.